Happy Microphone Monday, everybody. This week's microphone continues with our trend that we've been on for the past couple weeks, talking about low-frequency microphones. In particular, so far, they've all been low-frequency dynamic microphones. This week's is the Audix D6. This is probably the newest design out of the three I've covered so far, which last week's was the Shure Beta 52, and then the week before that was the AKG D112. So, being the newest one, it probably has the most modern sound to it. It has a little bit more top end than the D112 and probably has a lot more top end than the Beta 52. It also seems like it has more punch, not just because it being brighter and having more top. The transient itself is actually a little bit more attack focused. And so whereas I feel the Beta 52 probably has the most sustain of any of the microphones, I feel like this has the most attack. And then with the D112 is probably somewhere in the middle. I think it's a really cool microphone. I definitely like it. It's probably my preference for a modern rock kick drum microphone these days, especially towards the attack head or the beater. So typically I'll have this on the middle-ish to 2/3 of the way inside the kick drum, pointed at the beater, and that usually gives me a ton of attack. It will get a little bit of snare bleed in that particular case, but I think the attack is worth it compared to the snare bleed. Like a common setup for me would be, say, the Beta 52 in the drum hole, and this guy on the beaters, and probably a third option on the outside of the drum head, something like a Yamaha Subkick, which I'll cover probably next week, or like an RE20 or an SM7 would be my other choices, kind of on the outside there. Depending on how much bleed I want. The SM7 is going to give me more bleed than, say, the Subkick. But the Audix D6 is really great. Has, like I said, it's a punchy microphone, sounds very modern, has a nice like texture to it, like kind of a little bit of you can almost kind of like hear like the beater scraping the drum head a little bit, which I think is nice. It picks it up pretty good on this microphone compared to the other two. It sounds good on floor toms, sounds really good in guitar amps. I've used it on horns, and it's been okay. Anywhere you kind of want to scoop the sound a little bit and keep some punch, I feel like those are the places it really excels. Moderately priced. I think they're all about the same price to these three. Pretty much in the same ballpark. I think it's nice to have all three in your microphone locker if you can afford it. If I only could have one, I would just keep the Audix D6. While I feel it has the most attack, and it's kind of the most modern sounding, it also probably has the least amount of low end, but it's also the placement. So I typically will place this a little bit closer inside the microphone, so it's going to have a little bit less low end, or place it closer inside the kick drum, so it'll have a little less low end. And that's really it so far for this week. Next week we'll cover some more low frequency microphones, go over things like the Yamaha Subkick, or in my case, I have the R-Tone Subkick, as well as the cover like things like RE20s and SM7s as we go through the rest of the mic locker. The other thing is I got some feedback. People said they wanted to start hearing comparisons of microphones, which I think is a really cool idea. So I'm going to start filming some shootouts. So those will be coming soon to the YouTube channel. And I am also going to be doing some inside the mix stuff I have coming up with a couple clients that we're going to show how the mix was made and kind of go through different things in a bunch of detail. So more content will be coming to YouTube. But for now, please like, share, and subscribe.